Listen up, trusted friends. Start up, trust smarter, execute your plan, take action. If you are ready to listen up, here is today's story on Dan Lok. Dan Lok, high-ticket sales king. I'm Mitchell Chadrow, your host. Welcome to the Listen Up Show. Dan is the best-selling author of over a dozen books, including F.U. Money, and is a self-made 8-figure businessman. I hope all of my trusted friends have been well. I took off for a while, but I'm back with a full lineup of shows for this year. Dan Lok is a serial entrepreneur and a leading internet marketing expert known as the Millionaire Mentor. Dan also sponsors Vancouver's Entrepreneur Group. What's Dan's story? Dan was born in Hong Kong, came to Canada at the age of 14. He spoke no English, had no connections. His dad filed for bankruptcy before Dan was 16, and his parents divorced 2 years later after coming to Canada. Dan lived with his mom in a one-bedroom apartment, dropped out of college, and lost $150,000 of his mom's life savings. His dad had a stroke shortly after his parents' divorce. What were Dan's biggest failures in business? Before Dan met his mentor, he had 13 failed businesses and was losing money every month. When he lost that $150,000 of his mother's money, that was a life traumatic experience that changed his life forever. How did Dan begin to succeed in business? It all turned around for Dan when he met his mentor, Alan Jacks. Our startup round is sponsored by TrustSmarter.com. Still struggling to find a better financial planner? TrustSmarter is an online marketplace allowing consumers to access great financial planners from multiple fiduciaries without having to shop around on comparison websites or travel around to several or numerous planners or companies, completely free to consumers. TrustSmarter connects you directly to financial planners that are fee-only and totally independent that will help you make informed decisions, saving you time, money, and being hassle-free. Visit TrustSmarter.com. Who is Alan Jacks? Alan Jacks is Dan Lok's eccentric copywriting mentor. After a decade of exploration, including work as a biologist, freelance photographer, photography instructor, retail manager, academic advisor, counselor, and documentary filmmaker, Alan Jacks started his first business. By 1987, he had created the Mind, Money, and Wealth Seminar, which he taught to thousands of Canadians across the country. In 1992, he created the Real Estate Investment Network, known as RAIN, as most members call it, which is now led by best-selling real estate author Don Campbell. Alan was the first person to bring mega best-selling authors Harry S. Dent Jr. and Robert Kiyosaki to Canada. Alan was a senior partner in Business Breakthrough Technologies Incorporated, BBT Events, from 1999 and 10, a marketing company that specialized in promoted financial education seminars and events across Canada. How did Dan get to meet Alan? Well, one day he found himself sitting next to him at a conference event and telling him that he read all his copyright material and could he take him to lunch. Dan asked Alan to be his mentor, but Alan turned him down. So Dan would visit him at his office every day. Dan told him he would work for him for no salary at all. And he actually did for a year. That meeting changed everything in business for Dan and turned his business positive. Dan started making $10,000 a month, then $20,000 a month, then $30,000 a month, then $40,000 a month and beyond. Before he knew it, he not only paid off all his debt, eventually him and his mom were really in a great place and living the life he thought about. So what did Alan teach and Dan learn? Develop high income skills. He provided him with actionable advice based on his real life experiences, not just theories, not BS, on topics around making money, business success, and personal development. When he first met Alan, his mentor, he was telling him about all these businesses that he started, and he wasn't making enough money, and that he was struggling, that his customers were cheap and difficult to deal with, and the economy was bad, and he had to pay so much in taxes, and he was going on and on and on. Finally, his mentor turned to Dan and told him point blank, "You are a really bad business person." Dan replied, "But I work so hard." And Dan got very defensive. Dan told Alan that he tries to do the best by his customers. Alan said, "You are not good at selling. Sales is your problem. And you also have employee problems, and you don't know how to manage the business well. You need to be a business leader." Alan Jacks told Dan point blank, "Simply remember that your business is always a reflection of you. Nothing more and nothing less." How does he define a high income skill? It's a skill where you can make a good living without being at a job ever again. Dan shares these business and life lessons, tips and tricks that helped take him from feeling desperate and broke to one of abundance and being financially comfortable. You see, Dan retired at the age of 27. Our Fast Pitch round is sponsored by banksmarter.com. Banking Made Smarter, an online marketplace platform for trusts and estates. You and your family can connect directly to fiduciary trusts and estate banks. BankSmarter negotiates a better fee from the trusts and estate banks and saves consumers time, hassle, and money. Completely free to consumers, banksmarter.com. That's banksmarter.com. Dan's rules to live by. 1, focus on your result. 2, take responsibility for your own action. 3, do not blame others if you don't succeed. It's not their fault. 4, some people say that money is the root of evil, but Dan says that poverty and the lack of money is the root to all evil. 5, stop having the lottery mentality where there is a tiny chance to win, and instead take on the action mentality. I will make myself successful. It's up to me. 6, getting rich is not an act. It is a habit, and so is staying poor. It's also not an act. It's nothing. Just happens to you. It's a habit. Most people, 7, one win can make up all your losses. I asked Dan, tell us about being resourceful. He talks to us about his aunt had a printing business, and he had his aunt print up 5,000 flyers. He distributed all of these flyers throughout the neighborhood. One side promoted his aunt's business, and the other promoted his lawn mowing business. He was trying to be resourceful. It's not about what you have. It's about what you do with what you have. It's never about a lack of resources. It's a lack of resourcefulness. And Dan was just resourceful. He had no money, but he had time. So he put in the effort and distributed all the flyers. He ran home and waited for the phone to ring. He thought, 5,000 flyers distributed, he's going to get at least 100 phone calls. So after 1 hour, no calls. After 1 day, no calls. 3 days, not a single telephone call. He even checked the flyer several times to see whether or not the correct telephone number was on the flyer. It was. He never got a single call. So what did he learn from that experience? Doesn't matter if you have a great product or a great service. If you don't know how to get it out into the market, and if people don't know about it and they are not paying attention to what you have, no one is going to buy from you. So how did he get that first lawn mowing job? Well, he actually mowed that first lawn before even asking the person. The guy was so surprised and so thankful, he gave Dan $20. That experience actually changed his philosophy for the rest of his life. He said, what did he do to get that $20? Well, he mowed the lawn first before asking for anything in return, and that's how he got the $20. So he then went around in the neighborhood, found a higher-end, expensive home, saw that the lawn was extremely high, should have probably knocked on the door first, but he didn't. He was just a young kid, and he just went ahead and mowed the lawn. Well, when the owner came home, they were so shocked and amazed that they actually gave Dan $100. That actually affected him for the rest of his life. What is Dan's motive for business? Add value first before you ask anything in return. That's how he always approaches it. Most business people merely approach others and want to sell them something right off the bat, or what can you do for me first? Flip it around and always provide the value first before asking. His favorite question when meeting someone new, what is the most important project you're working on? I love books. That's why I have a book club back at mitchellchadro.com/books. Dan says, stop watching so much TV and pick up a book and read. He says that experience changed how he operated and created a hunger within to learn and to grow each and every day. Dan has plenty of books, and I will have links to some of them in the show notes. Ask Dan, why do most businesses fail? He will tell you that most people start businesses for all the wrong reasons. People want to get out of a job. They want to make money. And of course, there's nothing wrong with wanting to make money, but if the opportunity sounds like it's very, very easy, you still have to put in the hard work. The true reason to get into business is because there's a need in the marketplace for your expertise and your skill. Statistics will say that 90% of small businesses fail in the first 5 years. And Dan says that even the ones that survive after 5 years, most do not pass the $1 million mark. That's because people are going into business for the wrong reasons or without the proper training, without the skills. So why did all of those first 13 businesses of Dan's actually fail? He admits that he didn't have the business acumen or experience at that time. He didn't know anything about leadership marketing, sales negotiation, raising capital. Any of these skills, he admits at that time, he wasn't a good business person. But the great thing about business, he says, is that after many years of not doing well, you learn how to get better by practicing and dusting yourself off. Dan has a rule that he refers to as setting wealth triggers. It's not just decorative items that he keeps throughout his office. He creates a certain type of feeling in his work environment. Tell us about developing good habits. Dan tells us about developing good habits to make money. He says that human beings are creatures of habit, repeating the same routines over and over again. Getting rich, Dan says, is an act. It is a habit. And so is staying poor. It is a habit. So our wrap-up round is sponsored by virtualcash.net. A virtual financial planner. How does the average person and family learn how to properly plan? Trust virtualcash.net to educate, empower, and teach you all about how you and your family can plan smarter. Today, financial planning is something you do, not traditionally somewhere you go. Traditional financial planning is being challenged to the core, and the next 10 years will only see more changes in money and finance than we have in the last 100 years. Virtualcash.net helps you and your family explore and guide you through the best of the best in financial planning around the world. You don't have to be part of the Silicon Valley, New York, or London wealthy club. With virtualcash.net, Learn how you and your family can benefit from this global revolution. Learn how to plan smarter, whether saving money, budgeting, or planning for college, retirement, or a new life transition. virtualcash.net. Dan says the 3 best habits of rich people. The rich count their money. The poor don't count their money. They get a paycheck. They deposit their paycheck. They spend the money, and they have no idea what their expenses are. And they have no idea how their money flows. He says you can spot a poor person. They have a job. They wait maybe once a year during tax season to figure out all the money that they had for that particular year. Rich people, they pay themselves first. Doesn't mean that they go out and buy a car. Doesn't mean that they take a vacation. Doesn't mean that they're blowing money on entertainment. But the poor pay everybody else first, whether they're buying a car or paying the automotive company or buying a house or paying the bank or traveling and paying the travel agency. They're always the first to be paid, or paying the hotel first, or paying the airplane or flight company first. No, Dan says, pay yourself first. So what does paying yourself actually mean? Put your money aside and you invest the money. Dan's not talking about being frugal, but taking a percentage of your income and putting it aside, paying yourself first and saving it, and then invest it. The third habit of rich people, they're constantly improving their earning ability. So every single year, your income is staying flat for the last 2 or 3 or 5 years. Dan says, shame on you. What this means is you're not learning. It means you're not thinking. It means you're not growing every single year. He says, you must strive to improve your earning ability to increase your income. Rich people are always constantly looking for ways to improve their earnings. You need to find ways on how to add value to the marketplace. Dan's business philosophy, you must have a sense of urgency. The average human lifespan is 75 years. 1/3 of your life is spent sleeping. 1/3 of your life is spent watching TV, going to the movies, drinking, partying, traveling, spending time with family and friends, playing video games, commuting to and from work, buying groceries, paying bills, being stuck in traffic, waiting in line, mowing the lawn, cleaning up your house, doing laundry. In the first 18 years of your life, you are growing up. You're learning to walk, eat, run, talk, and you're totally dependent on your parents. You're going to school, and if you have a job, you probably spend most of that time working for someone else instead of building your own dream life. See, you have approximately 7 years to make your dreams come true. Dan tells us all that life is too short to waste time on people who don't lift you up or inspire your life. Again, life is too short, Dan says, to be living someone else's dream. Life is too short to wait, to not take chances. Life is too short to wake up with a developed sense of urgency into the pursuit of success and freedom. You must step up to live the life on your own terms and actually take action in your life for your business. And I think that is wonderful advice here at the end of this year and for the beginning of next year to be focused on all of your goals. So to get the show notes, head over to mitchellchadro.com/show078. Next show, we interview Joe Alsasser, founder and president of Covisum, a fintech company. You can listen on Overcast. mitchellchadro.com/Overcast. You can go to iTunes at mitchellchadro.com/iTunes. Subscribe there. Leave us a review. It really does help other people find the show. And of course, we're on Spotify, and go to mitchellchadro.com/Spotify or anywhere that you can get your podcast, Stitcher, or anywhere you can listen up. Have an awesome and a happy new year. Until next time, my trusted friends.